And here we go. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. As always, I do hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea news. This on the morning of our Champions League day against Barcelona. FC Barcelona, that's right. Without Pedri. Lots and lots of confidence coming from the Barcelona fans from social media, laughing at the idea of Chelsea beating them. I find that quite interesting. I try and stay off social media, certainly X, formerly known as Twitter, because it's a cesspit. But I mean, everyone's confident in their own team, right? But I do find that interesting. I want to speak about who's the bookmakers' favourites for this game. Also, it's been going around the media a lot. Yildiz still being linked to Chelsea heavily. Arsenal and Liverpool, lots of big teams going in for this young sensational attacker. Would it be a silly move for Chelsea? I mean, I'm going to put it out to you guys because I find it very interesting. Murillo being heavily linked to Chelsea. Again, we've been linked to the Brazilian defender before from Nottingham Forest. He is very, very good. And, you know, this big criticism is, well, they can't win the league with that goalkeeper. Well, they can't win the league with that defence. I mean, the goalkeeper's been pretty good. The defence has been pretty good. And, of course, we've got Levi Colwill to return to this side. You know, there's Anselmino and Sarr also that's going to return to Chelsea after loans. Do we need to buy Murillo? I must say, it's a tempting prospect for me. And of course, Cole Palmer has been pictured training, you know, with his supposed magic boot that looks like a regular football boot to me. Is it mind games from Maresca? Are we going to see him play maybe off the bench tonight or, you know, feature off the bench against Arsenal when he pretty much said, nah, he's not going to be featuring in these games? Could we have our Chelsea manager, you know, mind games back? Maybe. We are going to get into it all, okay? So thank you for joining me today. Thank you as always for supporting the content. Daily content here on the channel, of course. I will try and record a match reaction after the Barcelona game tonight. Maybe might have to wait till tomorrow morning. But still, there's a Chelsea news video right now. So welcome on back. Thank you for supporting the content as always, for liking and subscribing. We've passed 200k. We've sailed past it, subscribers. Amazing. Incredible scenes. Thank you. So thanks for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And let's get into it. Right. So I wanted to start off with this confidence from Barcelona. Now I get it. It's a big grudge match, of course. Chelsea and Barcelona have sort of a little bit of beef. Of course, there was a certain game where some officiating wasn't very, very good. Of course, there was the Torres goal against Barcelona where Gary Neville sort of ended up making some incredibly interesting noises. And we're playing them tonight at home in the Champions League. Now, we think Palmer will be absent. I'm pretty sure he will be. So will Pedri as well. They are beatable, Barcelona. Now, of course, this is a huge test. We did, of course, lose to Bayern Munich in the Champions League away 3-1. Comprehensively beaten, but I will remind you that all three Bayern Munich goals were pretty much served up by Chelsea. One was a penalty, one was an own goal, and one was Malo Gusto just passing the ball to Harry Kane to finish. So we made it easy for them, but of course, yeah, I'm comfortable and secure enough to say this Bayern Munich team is better than us right now, Chelsea, but, you know, they're a lot more older and experienced, and, yeah, we're still kind of in our embryonic phase, but Barcelona, they are eminently beatable, and I was going across social media looking at the confidence, dare I say, overconfidence of some Barcelona fans, laughing at the concept of Chelsea beating them. Now, I won't necessarily put this on the screen because I don't feel comfortable sharing all social media handles, but it was a little bit like, what? Like, you did see us in the Club World Cup final pull apart Paris Saint-Germain, the European champions, right? We are near the top of the Premier League table, which is an incredibly competitive league. So I thought, all right, I'll go and have a quick gander at what the odds are, and Chelsea are comprehensive favourites across probably, what do I look at, so 70%, 65% of the bookmakers make Chelsea favourites. An AI aggregation gives Chelsea 5-4 odds favourite and 2-1 for Barcelona to win. So a 43% chance of Chelsea winning and a 35% chance of Barcelona winning with a 22% chance of a draw. So Chelsea have been calculated as favourites to win this game against Barcelona. I wanted to mention it because I thought, yeah, they are eminently beatable. You can score goals against Barca. It'll be how well we defend, and we'll speak about the defence in this link to Murillo shortly. But yeah, I think... You know, I've already done a preview to this match, so go watch my previous upload if you're interested in that. But I wanted to react this morning. Look, kickoff's in 10 hours at time of recording, so we'll see what happens. But I did think it was interesting. Look, they might slap us. And if they do, and you come back to watch this, and you're a Catalan Barcelona fan, fair play. Do you know what I mean? On the eve of the game, before it, I'm pretty confident we can get something out of this game. Anyway, let's move on and speak about the next story of today's video. And before we get into the transfer news and links and gossip or whatever, let's speak about Cole Palmer. Yeah, so Cole Palmer has been pictured in what can only be described, or seemingly, team training. You know, there's that wonderful picture of him in a Estevao with a, arm around his shoulder. It's what you want to see as a Chelsea fan. The two star boys smiling and laughing, being friendly. We all want to see that relationship cultivated as much as possible between Estevao and Palmer. You know, these players, Palmer will, maybe not this season because of his injury, but generally moving forward for Chelsea, he'll be aiming for PFA Player of the Season. And you know what, with Estevao this season, I think he's probably favourite to be winning Young PFA Player of the Year. Of course, a trophy, an award that Palmer won under Pochettino in his first season at Chelsea. You have to be like 21 or under. Of course, Estevao's only 18, so he'll certainly qualify for that. But I don't know, man, like, what other teenager in the Premier League is in the running to win that award, or 20-year-old or whatever? I can't think of any off the top of my head. Feel free to correct me down in the comments. But if Estevao continues to have an excellent and exciting high-profile season and, entertaining all the neutrals and doing exciting stuff, I think Estevao is like probably the front runner as it stands, before Christmas, to win Young Player of the Season PFA a Player Award. Let me know what you think. But yes, Cole Palmer being pictured playing football, kicking the ball around, and yes, I mean, what is a special boot? Is it just a little bit of padding so the little toe doesn't make impact when you kick the ball? I mean, no matter what you put in a boot, if you kick a football, it feels like it's going to hurt. Anyway, a lot of people are speculating maybe it was a little bit of mind games from Enzo Maresca before two huge high-profile games in both Barcelona and Arsenal. Look, am I suggesting that he lied? No, I reckon he did stub his toe and, do some damage. But maybe, without knowing entirely the prognosis of how long he's going to be absent, maybe he was a little bit like, yeah, he's not going to be available for a little while, just to play mind games with both Hansi Flick and Mikel Arteta. To be honest, if you ask me if I'm to guess, I would say he won't feature tonight against Barcelona, and I reckon maybe he'll be on the bench for Arsenal, which is still a bit of a twist, and I'm guessing totally here, because Maresca said no, he's not going to be available for these games. But I just have a feeling, because we're seeing him training on the grass, that he might be in the squad for the Arsenal game, which would be wicked, because, come off the bench, cause some devastation, try to ruin Arsenal's title charge. That's what we're all about, yeah? That's why we're here. Bring it on. Right, so let's move on. Let's talk about some of the transfer news, or gossip, headlines, rumours, and let's move on and speak about Kenan Yildiz again. A couple of these stories coming from Court Offside. Arsenal are joining the chase with Chelsea and Liverpool for one of the hottest young talents around. The 20-year-old Turkish international, of course, has emerged as one of the most exciting players in European football. He's already got 6 goals and 5 assists to his name this season. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, Arsenal have really reinforced their attack, of course. They've got Courage, and they've got Eze now. Eze's, triple dunking in the North London derby. His first ever career hat-trick. What a time to do it in the North London derby after the Tottenham manager was mugging you off saying, who's Eze? But of course, they've got Havertz, they've got Martinelli, who looks a little bit better. Of course, he's been linked with exits before. They've got Trossard, who seems to always score for them. They've got Saka. They've got Noni Madueke, who reached his 007 status in the last game, yet to score or assist for Arsenal in 7 games. He's a good player though, Noni. They've got loads of good attackers, but I still kind of see, Eberechi Eze playing and maybe the midfield free. And maybe there's a starting spot for a superstar on the left wing, so you've got Saka, and then you've got Yildiz on the left, maybe. Does he play on the left? Yeah, predominantly left winger, but he can play on the right as a second striker. So he is constantly being linked with Chelsea, and he has again in the headlines the last 2 days, which just makes me want to talk about it again, because right winger, we have got it locked down. We've got Neto, we've got Stevao, who I know maybe one day will become a number 10, but he's playing very well on the right wing. Cole Palmer can play on the right wing. Tariq George, I think, will probably exit Chelsea. Like, that will come up again. And, you know, maybe we know Garnacho can play on the right. He played loads of games on the right. And on the left wing, we've got, of course, Garnacho and Gittins. Now, for me personally, they are two high potential, dare I say, high level players. We've seen good performances from Gittins. We've seen good performances from Garnacho. They are both, of course, very young. I think they're both 21 years old. So the best is yet to come from these lads. Do you know what I mean? It's not, Neto's 25 and he's playing really out of his skin at the moment. He's playing incredibly well. It is really interesting, right? Because his contract expires, Yildiz, in 2029. So it's not for ages. It's not for over 3 years. I don't quite understand why these contract talks stories are causing loads of conversation, because he wants a new contract, he wants more money, I guess. He's really young, of course. He's only 20 and he's playing very, very well. I imagine because he signed in 2023, he was 17, he's on probably a pro contract, but I imagine for very little money. Now, the player himself is playing at a really, really high level, so he's probably, he might be saying, look, I want to go from 20k a week to 200k a week, or I don't know, 150k a week or something. Maybe something that Juventus are, even though Juventus pay high wages in terms of other Serie A teams, because there's not that much money for Serie A teams at the moment, maybe they're only prepared to give him, I don't know, to quadruple his wages to 80k. I'm totally guessing what his wages are. I could actually try and find out. Should we do that? That might be a bit of fun. Okay, so I've done some calculations. He's on £1.3 million per year, which is approximately £25,000 per week. So I wasn't far off. 25k per week. He would have been 17 when he signed that. So, you know, 17-year-old, 25k per week. Not bad. But of course, playing at a really, really high level, he probably wants that 25k to at least, well, more than quadruple. You probably want it to be like I say, if he came to Chelsea, Chelsea would probably give him, if they saw him as this superstar, immediately starting left winger, they'd probably start him on 160k a week with, of course, bonuses that could go up. But that's not the point. The question is, should Chelsea go for like this sort of left winger? Because it becomes this philosophical discussion, right? Chelsea are good, they're trending in the right direction. Maresca seemingly getting it right at points. You know, the best is yet to come from Palmer, Stevao, Joao Pedro, Delap, Colwill. You know, certain players are probably at their peak, like Pedro Neto, Reece James. I don't know, certain defenders maybe. Cucurella, Cucurella, how old is he? 27 something. He's not gonna, 28 possibly 27, but he's not gonna get better. He's just at a high level now and playing that. But yeah, a lot of players, you think the best is yet to come. So it's like, there's constant discussion of the goalkeeper's not good enough. From yours truly as well, often. And I'm not entirely sure I've changed my mind on that yet. I still kind of have huge concerns watching him boot the ball in Fernandez's face the other day. But, you know, he deserves praise, Rob Sanchez. He's been keeping clean sheets and playing well. Yeah, so similarly to the defence, people say, wow, they're not going to win anything with that defence, that goalkeeper. And you know, everyone in pundits and content creators, they all have their opinion, like, oh, they need a good centre-back in there, or, oh, they need this. I don't think anyone's saying, oh, they need a new wide attacker, like a new talented winger to come in and be the difference maker. Maybe some people will say that. People might look at both Garnacho and Gittins and go, yeah, they're pretty good operators, but they're not as good as Neto and Estevao on the other side. So maybe you do sell one and you try and sign Yildiz. I don't know. Maybe there's like in the room of the sporting directors, they're going, yeah, we're going to make a profit on Garnacho or this, that, and the other. But I don't want to sell either of them. I want to see them for the rest of the season. I want to have like a proper analysis. I've been pretty impressed with certain elements of both their games. So yeah. You know, let me know your thoughts. Let's move on and speak about the next story in today's video, which is, of course, links yet again to Murillo. Again, I'm getting this from Court Offside, also linking Chelsea and Arsenal to the 23-year-old centre-back who's been very, very impressive, the young Brazilian defender. Now, for me, I'm thinking, didn't Arsenal just signed Cape, you know, the Ecuadorian defender, and Mosquera, and they've got, of course, Saliba and Gabriel, and Ben White can play at centre-back, and they've got loads of centre-backs, haven't they? Don't they just play like 4 centre-backs along the back anyway? Mikel Arteta's got millions of centre-backs, you know, so... But then again, you could say the same about Chelsea. Deep breath. We have what I would deem our first choice centre-back partnership in Colwill and Fofana, provided both fit and available and in form. And then you've got Badiashile, Tosin, Chalobah, Achiampong, who's a really high profile potential. Do you know what I mean? You've got a return to like Sarr's going to come back and potentially play for Chelsea. And Silmino, Chelsea didn't want to sell. They loaned him to Borussia Dortmund because they were like, this kid's going to be good. Let's, you know, keep our powder dry on him. We signed that Ecuadorian. Is he Ecuadorian again? That South American teenager, the 16-year-old that's going to arrive when he's 18, is going to be amazing, apparently. Do you know what I mean? There's so many defenders there. But at the same time, and to be honest, if you said to me, Jan, who would be a better signing, Murillo or Yildiz? I might say Murillo, because he's so good. I didn't even know he's just 23. He can score, he's super aggressive, he's one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League. Chelsea have looked at him before, like a year or so ago, a year or 2 years ago maybe, that we've been chasing him. It doesn't surprise me that the big boys are coming in for him. He will leave Forest and he will go to a good Champions League club. The fact that we've got loads of Brazilians already, we've got, you know, Andre, we've got Joao, and we've got Estevao. I think, you know, it would be very alluring for Murillo. I mean, I must say, obviously, he'd come to Chelsea to start, and I guess Fofana would be sweating. Levi, of course, has been out for a long time, but he was, like, Chelsea's most important centre-back in terms of how we play style. So maybe Levi, you know, but you don't know how anyone's going to come back after an ACL. That's another thing as well. So I would say if I was like interested in any of these signings, it probably would be the Brazilian defender. He's very, very luring. And what do we know about this Chelsea ownership? They love transfers. They will keep signing players and they will keep looking at players. And they'll back themselves to make money on the ones we've got that we're not using, which is probably fair. I could see them doing that as well. But I put it out to you guys. What do you think? Would you go for Murillo? I mean, what do we need? Are we quietly good enough? Is it really just maybe a senior striker? Or, I mean, where is this senior striker as well? Maybe we're fine. Maybe we're fine and we just need to let it percolate and develop. But there is something alluring about a couple of, like, you know, adding these sort of superstars to this Chelsea team, because we keep buying, I don't know, like not just potential, but there is something alluring about just buying someone that you know is very good and putting them into a team that every now and again is lacking. Murillo's got loads of experience and he's still young, so I could totally see Chelsea going for him. Let me know your thoughts though. Please do leave them down in the comment section. Thank you for liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, commenting, hyping up. It's down here somewhere, the hype points. And yeah, man, I hope to see you back here soon. Of course, I'll cover the Barça game, possibly straight after in the evening or tomorrow morning. Alright, peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life, seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.